I spent $1,000 on these 6 MacBooks right here. In this video, we're going to try and fix up these computers, see if we can resell them and make some money. In the previous video, we tried to fix 4 iMacs. I was only able to successfully fix 2 of them, but they were the 2 that mattered. If you haven't watched that video yet, definitely check it out right up there. That'll be the first link below the like button. In this video, we've got 6 computers. We've got 2 MacBooks, a MacBook Air, and 3 MacBook Pros. Each of these have their own issues. One of them, specifically this one, has a very interesting issue. So let's go ahead, get started, and take a look at what's wrong with these computers. First computer we got here is a gold 2015 MacBook. This one has the issue that it boots to a question mark folder. This question mark folder can happen for a couple of reasons. One, there's no drive installed. That's not possible on this computer because the SSD is soldered to the logic board. Another option is that there's no operating system or nothing to boot to, or that it's corrupted. All possible options, but this computer has probably an interesting issue that we'll definitely be able to confirm in a minute. And as you can see right away, it boots to this question mark folder that's flashing. That means kind of everything I already said, but nothing definitive that we know for sure is wrong with it. So let's go ahead and get something that will allow us to boot off of. So we're going to boot off of this and see if we can maybe view the internal SSD on the computer. So this is good news so far. It shows us that the computer is functioning. The screen looks good, the keyboard works, the backlight works. So let's go ahead and verify the specs on this computer real quick. And yes, this is an early 2015, 2012. It's got a 1.3 gigahertz processor. This is the upgraded one. Let's open up this utility, see what that has to tell us, if anything at all. And in here, we're going to show all devices. Yep. And only external. There's nothing internal. It's not showing anything. Let's go to terminal and see what that can tell us about anything. If we do disk util list, this is a very bad keyboard. I do not like this much at all. We just have dev disk 0, which is external physical. That is this again. And it does not look like we see any internal drive at all on this computer. So for some reason, it does not recognize the internal drive in this computer. Maybe it no longer exists. This is actually somewhat of a common issue in MacBooks, specifically 2015-16. The SSDs tend to die sometimes, and because they're soldered to the logic board, there's nothing you can do. Now, the reason I spent $350 for this computer, knowing what the issue was, is that you can sell the parts for actually quite a bit of money. The screen itself goes for $250, and I can use several different parts, sell them separately, and make more than I paid for this computer. So I am not going to be able to fix this. There's nothing you can do about the issues with this computer. So this one is not fixable, but I will sell it for parts. Which brings me to my next computer, which is this exact same computer. This is my next computer right here, and this is another MacBook. But this one has an issue where the battery does not work. So let's go ahead and test this out, see what we can see about that. And then we might use this for something. So let's go ahead and just power it on and see what happens. It does say that the battery inside of it is bad, does not work. And I can believe that. Let's see if we can now boot from our external drive, possibly. So it has booted up. We're gonna log in. And the first thing I noticed is it said 0% battery up in the top. And that is not very good. That's very discharged. Once again, we can see that everything works. The screen looks good, the keyboard, backlight works, the trackpad is good. But up here we have 0% battery and it says replace now. If I open up system report, go down to power, this has 319 cycles, but it does say replace now. We do need a brand new battery in this apparently. Here's what we're going to do. I want to take this computer, take it apart. We also take the gold one apart. I'm going to take the battery out of this gold one, and then I'm going to put it on this one. This is going to tell me if it's a battery issue or some other type of issue that we don't know about. And then if it works off of the gold battery, which does hold charge, then I will go ahead and order ourselves a new battery for this computer. Unfortunately, the battery itself is glued to the bottom case, so unless we want a gold bottom on this computer, we're gonna need to buy a new one. All right, everything has been swapped out from the old computer to this one. We have a gold bottom on our black computer, but that's fine. We're just here to see if the battery works or if there's some sort of logic board issue. There you go. It's turning on. There's no external drive connected, so this is loading up to whoever owned this computer last. So this means that it's turning on, which means it's able to run off of a battery power. So most likely the issue was that battery's just bad. It was the end of its life. It was time to be replaced. So it's running off of its own battery, the gold one. And this confirms that it is a good computer. So we just need to buy a new battery. Next computer we're going to check out here is a 2010 15-inch MacBook Pro. I got this for $80 off of Craigslist. And the issue with this computer is that it has a bad screen. They dropped it on the ground and it doesn't work anymore with the screen. There's a couple of weird issues with it. There's only a tiny little dent on the back of the computer. So let's see what it does when we turn it on. And as you saw right there, that was our issue. The screen shows up with some lines there. For some reason, the screen turns off not too long after it turns on. You see those lines and it just disappears. So something's wrong with the screen, definitely. We saw those lines there. I don't know why it turns off. That seems less like a screen issue, but we will test that out. I'm going to go ahead and test this off camera real quick to see what happens if I plug into an external monitor. The issue gets a little bit stranger when we plug into a monitor. Nothing happens. There's nothing on this screen and there's nothing on any other screen. I plugged in a mini DisplayPort to VGA adapter, put that into a monitor and nothing happened. I can't test Thunderbolt because it doesn't have Thunderbolt, but when I do close the lid, the light does turn on. So the computer is powered on, the fans are running, just the screen turns off not too long after it turns on. Before we move on to fixing this computer, I actually have another one right here. This is another 15-inch 2010 MacBook Pro. This one has several issues. It's missing almost half of its parts. It has a very bad cosmetic condition on the bottom case, and it does not turn on. But the thing here is that the screen looks pretty good. It doesn't turn on anyway, so my hopes are that the screen is good enough to work on this. They're both the exact same computer. This one doesn't turn on at all. You can still power a Mac without the battery connected. So I have my charger right here, and if I turn it on, we get absolutely nothing. I spent $59 on this computer, and this is actually a really great deal for the screen alone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the screen off of this computer right here, and I'm going to put it onto this one over here. So let's go ahead and do that now. So the computer is all put back together and it works. I took a gamble on that $59 computer. It did not turn on, so I had no way of knowing whether this screen would work or not. And I am very pleased that it actually works. Okay, but hold on a second. This is not the end of the story of that computer. In fact, that computer really is broken. So our lines in the screen issue, that is a screen problem. But the reason that it goes black on boot up is a graphics issue. So while I got it to turn on and work for me the first time, the screen would randomly go black during use. I was testing the computer, testing all of its functions, and it would randomly go black and not come back on until I had to force restart it. And the time that it took for it to go off was very random. It went off into boot up or hours later. So there's a graphics issue with this. Something happened when it got dropped. But there's good news. I was an idiot and I used the wrong power adapter. I used a 60-watt wall charger when I should have been using an 85. So the computer that I stole the screen from, my $59 parts computer, actually works. I connected it to the proper charger and it worked perfectly fine. Everything worked amazing. So I swapped the logic boards, put the $59 computer into the better case and its original screen, and that is what I ended up selling. So we did have a complete computer in the end, but not the one I was planning on it being. So the original one that I was fixing, that I spent $80 on, is not fixable. It has a graphics issue. But the good news is that the computer I bought for parts actually works. So it ended up working out, but not the way that I originally shot the video. Also, that is going to do it for this video today. We have 2 more computers already left. We have another MacBook Pro and we have a MacBook Air. In fact, I also bought another MacBook Air, so we're going to have 3 more computers for the next video. Interesting thing about the next one is we're going to be diving into logic board schematics and board view diagrams. Yes, we are getting super deep into the way computers work. So definitely hit the subscribe button so you do not miss the next video where we get deep into fixing liquid damage. So that's going to do it for this video. It got a little bit longer than I expected, but we will have another video next week where we try and fix up those 3 more computers. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. If you like this video, leave a like and hit the subscribe button for more videos like this. This is Mark That Tech, and I will see you in the next one.